All right, away we go. So thank you for joining. I see we've got some familiar names and some new names. So if you ever wish as well in that group chat, you can introduce yourself, say where you're tuning in from. It's totally up to you. So we're here today to learn about Screencastify as well as using it with Google Classroom. Very commonly used tools. And I've done some getting started with Google Classroom sessions, getting started with Screencastify. And now I've heard a lot of interest from teachers. How can we do a session that really focuses on the nuts and bolts of putting those two tools together? So we're going to look at lots of different use cases and how to get those screen recordings connected to various aspects of your Google Classroom. Anything from a morning message to a brief introduction to a lesson, to a full-on instructed lesson, to capturing a USB document camera for instruction, to giving private feedback to students on their work through the private comments in Google Classroom, and a whole bunch of other scenarios, as well as demos of how to do those things. So I hope that's useful. Feel free to ask questions throughout the session. I'll do my best to to answer some of those. And for those of you in the room who do have some knowledge and interest in either one or both of these tools, I invite you to help out as well, offer your suggestions. And so seeing Natalie mentioned that she'd be interested in viewing some of the sessions from yesterday, just let me copy that link to the Google Doc. I'll paste it in the group chat, and that way when you open this up, you'll be able to see those video recording links from previous sessions. But anyhow, let's get started. So Screencastify, my assumption here when you're coming into the session is that you either know a little bit about Screencastify, have it installed, potentially using it a little bit. You may have attended the Getting Started session or just know about it just through your own experience. But for those of you, I won't do a lot of demo for installing Screencastify, but basically, if you go to screencastify.com, for those of you who don't have it, you'll see, it'll tell you whether you already have it installed or not. It shows up as an icon, a little salmon colored arrow icon with a video camera. And so you can install it for free. It gives you a 5-minute free recording. However, and once you install it with that free version, you will see when you click on Screencastify a little notice here that tells you that you have a limitation of 5-minute recordings. What Screencastify has done in light of current situation is, here's a tweet by a user who shows this, and let me just zoom in a little bit on it. And so if you want to activate an unlimited license, Screencastify has made that available to educators for at least the next month. And they've also indicated that should this remote learning environment continue beyond April, they would look at potentially extending this pro version for free beyond April. So what you do is it will give you an option. If you just have that 5-minute version, it'll give you a little link here to upgrade. The alternative is, and here is that coupon code, CAST_COVID, all caps, okay? And somebody may be interested in posting that to the group chat as well. So if you're not sure how to get to that upgrade, just go to screencastify.com and go to pricing. Click on that unlimited, the salmon color, get started. Now my account is already upgraded, but what you would see here on this page, when it goes to your account level about updating, you'll see a little box for a promotion code or coupon code. And that's where you would type in the CAST_COVID. I'll just type it in the chat. Good, so that will unlock the full version and away we go. So let's talk about several ways to use Screencastify. I'm going to demo a little bit here, so I'm just going to stop my own webcam and so that it can be used by Screencastify. So at any point in time, I can do start a screen recording or a webcam recording by hitting this Screencastify button. It's this extension in my Chrome browser. Now, one easy way to do these weekly message or a daily message, depending on how often you'd like to sort of welcome your students or give a little introduction just with your webcam. You go into Screencastify and choose webcam only. Make sure you've got your correct microphone and camera. You'll notice if you have a laptop that the microphone is built in. It's right by the webcam on your screen. There's a little pinhole. That's where the mic is. There are some more options you can take a look at, such as a 3-second countdown, but basically, give me one moment. I think it's right, this one will show up on the page. So let's imagine I had my webcam showing up right now. For some reason, it's not working. I think it's because I have my, there we go. So good morning, boys and girls, and it's so wonderful to see you. I really miss you, and I look forward to seeing you again. So that is a very short message, but let's imagine it was a really longer and heartfelt message. So basically what's going to happen, Screencastify processes that, and within a few seconds, automatically what will happen is a new tab will open up. Did anybody here attend any of the other intro Screencastify sessions? If you did, you'll notice that, yeah, there it is. So just automatically, this video is uploading. By default, they will mute my speaker such that we're not hearing this. This is what I just recorded. You can click to unmute it. It will not mute the sound on the finished video, so don't worry about that. Anyhow, to get this onto your Google Classroom, you've got a couple of options. It is already saved in your Google Drive. So I wouldn't have to do anything else with any of these other buttons if I didn't want to. And I could simply go open up my Google Classroom. Now let's remember what this one's called, Untitled March 31. Let's say I'll give it a different name. Welcome March 31st. All right, so I'm gonna open up a new tab. I'm gonna open up my Google Classroom, okay? Let's say I have that Google Classroom open. And you may even wish to have, if you wanna make these a regular part of your practice, you may be interested in creating a topic just for morning messages or welcome weekly messages. So at this point, I'm just going to create a material. And at this point, I'll say, or a good morning message or weekly check-in, whatever you like. And I'm going to add that file. Remember where it is. It's in your Google Drive. So the handy thing about Google Drive is that, and Google Classroom, is that it will find the most recent files you've been using. And the most recent one was indeed that welcome message. So it just shows up as a default. And I just hit add. And there it is. If I wanted to put anything in here regarding a description, I certainly could. Most likely I would make it go to all my students in this one Google class. But if you have multiple Google Classrooms, you can select multiple, pick your topic that you want it to go to, and you can hit post. Now, if you want to work ahead, I really love the feature in Google Classroom to schedule posts. When you hit schedule, then it won't show up until a specific date and time. And so that is a wonderful way to kind of work ahead without it showing up on the Google Classroom for the students until you're exactly ready for it. So I'm going to just save it as a draft at this point. And the students would actually, this is an actual Google Classroom that I use. I teach a course at Concordia University here in Edmonton. So here it is. And students would just basically be able to go into it at the moment it shows up. They'd be able to click on it and it would just pop open. It's this Google Drive link. Now, sometimes it takes a few minutes for this video to render and show. So sometimes if you post it right away and students click on it right away, they'll say, I can't see the video. It may say this video is still processing. So I've heard everything from a few minutes to several hours. So I'm not sure exactly why that is different for some people, but you can see here, let's say I have my webcam showing up right So there is that video message, and there it is for students. Interesting thing about these Google Drive videos is that you can now, for some reason, it's the captioning not working. It's not quite ready. But what students can do is change the playback speed. So if it's a longer, this is with any videos you do and save to Google Drive, as well as YouTube videos for that matter. It's a good skill for students to learn is how to change that playback speed if they need it slower. It doesn't make you sound like a monster or a chipmunk, depending on. Yes, to answer your question, Candace, absolutely. You can share them to Google Sites just as easily. So you can just, in your Google site, you can insert from Google Drive, and that would be all you would need to do. And the easier way to do that from Google Drive would be to, or on your Google site rather, would be to copy that shareable link first. You know why? Because in your Google Drive, let me show your Google Drive for a sec. When you create these video files with Screencastify, it creates a folder in your Google Drive called Screencastify. By default, the videos in your Screencastify folder are not yet shareable, viewable by other people. You have to say that to any file that's in your Google Drive. And so by posting, if you see in Screencastify, by clicking on copy shareable link, it does two things at once. Number one, watch this, enables link sharing, see that happening, and copy. So it does two things at once. It enables that link sharing such that anybody with the link can view it. So now you could just copy that shareable link, and in your Google site, all you need to do is choose the insert and embed something and embed a URL, and that video will pop right in, and that way it's already that shareable link. At that point, because link sharing has been turned on for it, you could probably also insert that file into your Google site from Google Drive, and that file is already shareable. Okay, if that makes sense. But back to Google Classroom, so it's very easy now to post those welcome video messages right in our Google Classroom. So whether you want to create an entire section for it or whether you want to include these video messages as part of your other assignments or activities, it's totally up to you. All right, so that is one particular way to do it. Now, another way to use, I'm going to just close this video. I'm going to just close this particular video. Another way to use Screencastify is to sort of introduce a lesson activity. Perhaps it's a website you want the students to interact with. I want to show off, for those of you, you're probably getting sick of me showing you the ATA library website. The reason why is for the ToLearn fans in the house. ToLearn was awesome when it was in existence. ToLearn.ca. The website no longer exists. That group is no longer around. And in its final year of operation, ATA merged, brought ToLearn into the ATA. And so we have all their subject guides, topic guides, and seasonal guides. They shared those with us. So if you just click on subject guides, here it is, ToLearn at your ATA library. Isn't that nice? And so I can go down. So let's say I want to introduce this particular math resource with students. Yeah, so the wonderful thing about the ATA library is really easy to remember that URL. It's our ATA library is teachers.ab.ca, and the ATA library, which I've just pasted into the group chat, is library.teachers.ab.ca. And if you're ever lost and you just go to ATA website, here's how you can manually find that ATA library in case you forget. Just go under My ATA, first one down. ATA library. Do you need login credentials to see the ToLearn stuff? Nope, you do not. Virginia, I'm just going to mute your microphone. Hope you don't mind, just to reduce some of the background noise. All right, so easy peasy. So let's say I have these websites open for grades 4 to 6 math, and I want students to do some work with this particular Tessellation Creator. I've never used this website before, so this is something different. So at whatever point I want, when I'm ready to do this activity, I would just hit my Screencastify. I'm just going to shut my own video camera off. This time I'm going to choose Record Desktop. Now, You decide whether you want to embed your webcam as part of that video or not. Some teachers like to do that. The kids would probably like to see you. It'd be a little webcam in the bottom right-hand corner as you're introducing this. It's up to you. You can turn that off if you prefer. If you look at show more options, you'll see some other options like drawing tools, which includes sort of some mouse highlighting tools as well as inking on the screen. It's up to you. Now, if the website you're introducing has audio associated with it, you can keep the system audio button on. And what that will do is that will capture any sounds made. So in theory, you could load up an instructional video from YouTube or anywhere else, and you could start recording the screen playing that video, hit pause, and record your screen, or stop and talk about that video and then continue on and so on. So anything you want to introduce, you are welcome to do that. It'll capture that library. So the only reason, Danielle, you would need to log in for the library is if you're signing out a book or signing out a kit. Just to get to these links, you don't need any login for that. So this library.teachers.ab.ca for the, I don't believe, yeah, I'm not logged in right now and I can easily, to sign things out, yes, of course, you would need your ATA account, but it's easy to sign up for. So very quickly and easily, let's say I want to introduce this lesson activity. I can keep my webcam, I'm going to hit record. You're not seeing this, but it's going, the webcam is kind of showing up on my other screen at the moment. Let's imagine I have one. Let's imagine you're seeing my webcam. Hello, boys and girls. This is the Tessellation Creator, and it allows you to create tessellations right on the screen. So I'd like you to explore this. After you're done, I'd like you to create a Google Doc in this assignment and write down 3 things you learned about this activity. I'm going to hit stop recording. And by the way, that's a terrible activity. Let's be honest. That was not a great academic activity right there. So I finished the recording. I wait a few seconds. Up will pop this tab from Screencastify. Here it comes. Creator, and it allows you to my video. Remember, you've got these trimming tools at the beginning and at the end. If you wanted to trim off the first couple seconds or last couple of seconds, that's very easy to do. There is also a full-on video editor. We're not going to get into that right now, but there is a full-on video editor that you can chunk up things and mix things together and so on. But right now, we'll keep it simple. So once again, that video is already in my Google Drive. And so I can now either just go back to my Google Classroom and pull it from my Google Drive there, or if I want to just save a bit of time, I can click on Share to Classroom and it'll pop that window open there. I'm going to just demo it back in Google Classroom because I could do a couple of extra things there when I'm creating an assignment, okay? And I like the full screen window. So it's really a matter of choice, but you're going to see both things. In this case, we're going to create an assignment. In this particular assignment, tessellations. All right. Oh, good. I did spell it right. Did I? Yes, I did. 2 S's and 2 L's. Hooray. So I would give my instructions here. And remember, that file is in my Google Drive. And it will show up the most recent file. There it is. I'm hit add. Now in this assignment as well, I want the kids to do a writing response. And so I'm going to right on the fly here, create. In this case, I want them to create some writing in a Google Doc. If I do the create piece right here within, if I'm doing the create right within Google Classroom as I'm creating the activity, what it will do is it'll create a document. You'll see it pop open in a new tab all by itself. Now I can create on the fly sort of a writing template of some sort. So maybe I'll just say, write 3 things you learned about tessellations by playing this with this website. Terrible, terrible. activity, but let's just imagine, just for sake of expedience, I can change the font, I can change the size, I can change the color, jazz it up here, choose a cool font whenever I'm ready. I can go down here. Let's say I don't want the students writing in lobster font. We'll make them write in something else, a different size. All right, I'm good to go. Now I can just close this Google Doc, and back in my Google Classroom, here it is. Now I don't want students to just view this Google Doc. I want them to have their own copy. So when I choose make a copy for each student, so now we've got two things in here. We've got our Screencastify video introducing this activity. They only need to view that file. There's nothing else they really need to do. And for this particular Google Doc, they will make a copy for each student, okay? And again, take advantage of that add and that create button. As teachers, students can also do that. When they open that assignment, they can use add to add a link or a file. They can use the create button to create one of these documents or slides that automatically does all the sharing for you, the teacher. So when I'm ready, I'm just going to save this as a draft again, but you would assign it, or you would schedule it, and there it shows up. So now your students will be able to click on view assignment when they come in here, and they'll see all the video as well as the instructions, as well as this learning template with their name on it. All right, so Miranda asked the question, in this situation, wouldn't you also want to add a link to the website they would need to use? Yes, good call. So let's go back to that. That was certainly a fail on my behalf, so I could copy that link. And it's quite easy to edit an assignment in Google Classroom. I say quite easy because it really depends. If you have forgotten to make a copy for each student, that part you can't go back and edit. But there is a way around that too. So I'm going to now add that link back in there, and I'll paste it from the Tessellation Creator. There it is. Thanks, Miranda. Good call on that one. So I've got my video. If I want any sort of a response thing, put that in there. And of course, who could forget the website itself? So I can just assign that or update it for students, and there it is for them. Okay, so that is another use case, introducing a lesson. Now, I'm just going to save that as a draft and get out of that. Now, the next use case scenario we'll look at here is, let's say I want to teach a full lesson. I may have some slides, and it doesn't matter if it's web-based slides like Google Slides, or if you're a PowerPoint user. If you record your desktop, you can take everything. Okay, before we go on to that, past President Getka has asked, hello, Elaine, welcome, has put, what do we do if we forgot to make a copy for every student? So if you've tried to create an assignment with anything in there, make a copy per student, and you forget to do that and you post it, when you go back and try to edit, it will not let you change that to a different, if you've just got a view only, it won't let you change it. So what you do is this, don't delete this yet. You go to the create, reuse post. This is a really wonderful, wonderful tool, this reuse post, for a lot of reasons. So reuse post, and I can go back in and I want to reuse this tessellation activity. And then a fresh edited version is going to come up. And at that point, I can go back and change that to make a copy for each student. Once I assign that, you may say to yourself, well, now you have two versions of it on your Google Classroom. Correct. But now you can go back and delete the wrong one. Okay, so here's the new one. Here was the wrong one. I can just hit the 3 dots in there and delete it. And now the one that is done properly, I can keep. So, by the way, while we're on the topic of reusing a post, if you have any grade partners or other teachers you know in your own grade, I highly encourage you to create a Google Classroom that's only for the teachers. You go into the People tab and invite other teachers of the same grade or a similar grade into your Google Classroom. Don't invite any students. You're going to call this your master classroom. And you can all post activities in here to no students at all. But now in your Google Classroom with your students, you can go and reuse a post, pull those any activities that you or your colleagues have created in that master class and reuse them with your own students. So that's a way of kind of sharing that workload or sharing activities together with your other grade partner colleagues. All right, so anyways, sorry for that digression. Let's go back to the whole idea of teaching a whole lesson in here. And so we've got our Screencastify. I've got my slides open, and it wouldn't matter if it's a PDF document on my desktop or a PowerPoint or a Word document or anything in my web browser. It doesn't matter. I can record anything. So I'm going to turn off my own webcam. Again, I'm going to get started here with Screencastify, and I will record the whole desktop. Some people ask, what's the difference between browser tab and desktop? Well, the browser tab will keep you in your web browser, Chrome, and it will only record that one particular tab. So if I switch tabs, or if I want to show PowerPoint or something on my desktop in a different program, it's not going to record it. Why would people do that? Well, people would do that because if you have a computer that's not very powerful, it will, and you know you're only going to be recording that one tab anyways, you can it'll use a little bit less of the system's resources and memory in recording that. So it makes it a little bit easier on your computer. So let's say for this particular one, I choose not to embed my webcam. I only want to just capture my microphone and the desktop. So I just select which screen. If I've got multiple screens, it'll give me a countdown. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now I can teach my whole lesson, and I can just pop through my different slides whenever I'm ready and teach my entire lesson, however long it is. When I'm done, there is a stop sharing blue button at the bottom center of your screen, or you can just hit this little X to stop recording here anyway. So I'm just going to hit stop sharing. And again, now's a good time to show those drawing tools. So I can use this focus mouse. All right, so I can just have students follow it, graze everything else out, and I can focus on that in the drawing tools or turn that off. There's also sort of a highlight clicks one, such that whenever I click, see that little red circle? Anytime I hold down the click, it shows that red circle. There's also an inking tool there to pen and draw some ink. However, that ink stays on the screen. So I'm switching, because it doesn't know that I'm switching slides here. And so it is keeping that ink on my screen. So just be aware of that if you do want to ink your screens while you're doing these live presentations. So I'm done my lesson. I hit stop sharing. Obviously, we're going to do these lessons in much shorter amounts of time. We don't really want our students watching 45 minutes of us teaching a lesson. Most likely, that might be a bit too much for students to go through. So let's say a mini lesson, particular strategy, particular content you'd like to teach. And yes, knowledge is still important, and it is important to build up students' background knowledge continuously. So keep doing that, keep teaching. You are still really an important part of that classroom. Yeah, so you have to do the, Katerina, you just need to go to the reuse post feature and reuse that post, and then you'll be able to get back in and change the setting. How did he access those tools from the last screen? Well, in Screencastify, when I was setting up a new recording, if you just click on here, you're going to, and on the Screencastify extension, you're going to need to choose the show more options and turn on the show drawing tools, okay? So here's my activity. Again, it's in my Google Drive. Full lessons like this I can do in Google Classroom or on a Google website. Now's a good time to show a couple of the other features in the sharing options. So in addition to clicking share to classroom, where I can just post it automatically, or we've done the copy shareable link, makes it very easy to post that link anywhere. The publish to YouTube is an interesting one. So I'm going to call this one student-centered learning. And when I click away,
all right, so now I can teach my little lesson, and I can just...
Sorry, guys. Anyways, now is a great time to show you a couple of other features. You can download this video file. And if you remember, you may have noticed when I clicked on that link that I'd shared before with students, the extension on that file type for the video file type was a WebM. You can also export as an MP4 video file, and MP4 video files play in pretty much everything I can think of. And if somebody may dispute that, let us know if I'm wrong on that one, but that is why that option is there. It's a more flexible video format. But you could just hit the download button or export as MP4 if you want, and then it'll just chug away here in the bottom and get it ready for download. Notice that you have the option of exporting audio only. Okay, we'll try that one next here. Yeah, so Mrs. Dublin, we're gonna hit that exact scenario for recording a whiteboard or a document camera here next, okay? So so you just have that option to click download MP4, and then it'll just invite you, it'll just download it, and you can share it in other ways as a video file if you wish to. All right, so let's go to any questions on that one. So if I again want to share it directly in Google Classroom, I can just click that button right there, and it'll pop open all my options here. But I personally prefer to go back into Google Classroom and just pull it from my Google Drive there. Or even just hit the copy shareable link and then paste it in as a link there too. So it's really up to you. Can you find those download options once the video is in Google Drive? Yeah, it automatically is sharing it in Google Drive without me doing anything. So in addition to that, I can also do these other things. I can publish it to YouTube straight away here. If you have a YouTube account, you want to publish stuff right to YouTube, you probably wouldn't want to make it private. If you're going to share it with students, you could either make it public or unlisted, meaning that if they have the link, they can find it, but nobody else can search for it on YouTube. And then once you choose that, hit upload, and you can post it to YouTube. So it's really up to you how you want to do that sharing. Because it's Google Classroom, I really do like just keeping it as it is and not putting it up to YouTube. So it's really up to you how public you want to make that video. Again, there is that embed code. It will give you that little HTML snippet that you can copy. And if you have a different website tool, you can then embed it onto that website as well. But where our focus here is Google Classroom and using Screencastify there for this session. So I just want to give you a couple more use case scenarios for instruction, and then right away we'll do another couple use cases for more private feedback to students. Great options in there for that. So let's imagine that we want to do a lesson with our document camera. So what I can do, let's say I want to read a book. I have a USB document camera plugged in. If you see my webcam here, this is an IPEVO V4K, costs about 150 bucks. And right now, unfortunately, if you want to try to buy through Amazon, they're putting their priorities on delivering medical supplies. If you don't have a document camera, any USB web camera will work. You just plug it into the USB. Any additional webcam, you've seen the ones that sit on the edge of your monitor, those work just as well. And I've seen makeshift document cameras made from things like, my colleague Chris Gonsalves, he and his kids made their own document camera stand out of Lego. So there's all sorts of creative ways people are doing this. I'm not familiar with using a sort of a wireless connection with your iPad to your screen. I know there are softwares out there that I have seen before that you can install and do this. It's a little bit trickier to sort of AirPlay that wire. I wonder if any Mac users in the house, can you AirPlay your phone or your iPad to your Mac screen? Anybody ever try that? So that's another option. But let's just imagine that I do have this USB webcam or document camera. What I can simply do in Screencastify is one of the following. So I'm going to open up Screencastify. It doesn't really matter. Come on. let's open up Screencastify here. And in this case, I'm going to record my desktop and I'm going to choose embed webcam. But instead of my regular webcam, I'm going to choose my IPvo because it's just showing up as a regular webcam. Okay, so I'm going to embed that. I'm going to keep my microphone on and hit the record button. Okay, so what will happen here very shortly is, actually, let me just cancel that. Instead of recording my desktop, there are ways why you might want to record your desktop, including your own webcam plus your document camera, but I'm just going to go straight up webcam only. That's just recording my microphone, and now it'll be my document camera or anything, any USB webcam I have plugged in. So give it a second here. It's just going to connect to my webcam here. Give it one moment. I think because I'm in a Zoom and recording my screen and doing a bunch of other stuff, it's just taking a little bit of time. But within a couple seconds, what you should see on the screen is that image from your document camera. There it is, shows up. So now, whether it's paper, whether it's a book I want to read, whether it's part of a textbook I want to teach to, whatever that is, I can just record whatever I want from that, and then I hit stop. It'll again process. I have been asked this question before, and I'm not aware. I've looked through the help guides and online, and I've not seen anywhere where it said while you are recording, you can switch back and forth between different webcams. So I don't know how to do that. But what I will show you is a way of capturing your document camera, whether it's a real document camera or a makeshift one that you've installed, as well as your webcam. If you want the kids to see your face while you are recording your camera, while you're recording your document camera, you can certainly do that as well. And so now it's loading up the last Screencastify video of my desktop. This was my document camera. So once again, you can see it saving away there. It's uploading to Google Drive. See it in action. And I have all those share options for Google Classroom or elsewhere, just as I did before. So it can be a way of recording that lesson from your document camera. Yeah, Google Hangouts will do this too. So if you want to do that live with students, you can just share your desktop that way as well and include the webcam. So Mrs. Dublin, are you saying that you can switch cameras during your Google Hangouts? So that's certainly a possibility for doing that. In fact, Google Hangouts even gives you the ability to record those sessions as well. If you don't want to use Screencastify and instead want to use Google Hangouts Meet, you can do it that way as well. Now, let's say I want to record my document camera and my webcam at the exact same time. I want the kids to see me. So I would encourage you, for those of you who do have a USB document camera like an IPvo, or a Hue document camera is another good brand for cheap, under $100, or just any regular $30, $40 USB webcam that you have kind of positioned over top of whatever you want to record. There is a very easy way to share both that and your webcam and any other content on your screen that you might want to, all at the same time. And so what I would encourage you to do is, this is a Chrome, well, it comes in a lot of different formats. IPvo Visualizer. It is a Chrome app, as well as you can, if you prefer to install it as a Mac or a Windows or Linux application, you can certainly do that. So it is just, I find for whatever reason, when I go to the Chrome Web Store, I can't search and find IPvo Visualizer for some reason, because it is an app and not an extension. And so for those of you who have the apps part shut off and you're just searching extensions, it won't show up. But if you just Google search IPvo Visualizer, and let me just copy this link, put it in the paste in the text chat. So if you'd like to install that, I'm just going to hit Launch App at this point. All right. So basically what this app does is it, right through this little app that you install right in your Chrome browser, whoops, I got rid of all the rest of my stuff. Actually, why do I need that? I may as well just keep this here. So I can just keep my IPvo, I can get my document camera on there. And now with my Chrome browser, if I do the Screencastify, if I click that extension, get something started here. Let me turn off my own video. Now let's say I want to record my desktop, and I'm going to choose my webcam as my regular one, but I'm going to record my desktop and my webcam this time, okay? In fact, I'll even do the show webcam preview. And I'm going to hit record. Now, while it's getting my 3-second countdown, I'm going to get my people visualizer up on the screen. So here's my webcam. I've got my webcam down in the bottom right-hand side. I'm doing things on my document camera, whether it's instruction or whether I'm reading a book or a textbook or anything else that's under here. And then whenever I'm done, I just hit stop record, and it will have now my webcam in that Screencastify video as well. So that's another option you have if you want it all. Your webcam, you want the kids to see your face. You may want to flip back and forth between some PowerPoint slides or any websites you might have. Just do it as a desktop share and get that IPvo visualizer. It works with any webcam. It does not have to be an IPvo. And right in IPvo visualizer, you'll see you can select different cameras so to show up in there. Now, I haven't really had luck with it selecting my built-in webcam. Oh, yes, it does. That's my built-in laptop web camera. So that is certainly possible as well using your IPvo visualizer. So hey, there's a low-tech way of switching cameras while you're recording your desktop. Isn't that interesting? Just figure that out. So that is a possibility for those of you who want to have that that document camera show up on your desktop. Now you may have other software that you've installed for your document camera. That's totally fine. But if not, give IPvo visualizer a shot. Okay, and then of course here's my video once again of me doing that instruction. There's my webcam, there's my document camera. And again, lots of different sharing options, okay, for getting that to your students in Google Classroom. So I won't repeat that process too many times unless anybody does feel like they need that again. What I'd like to do, we've got about 15 minutes left. I'd like to show you now some options for reteaching or options for with smaller groups of students or even providing individual feedback, okay? So I'm going into my classwork section now. And let's say I have assigned some work for students. My students have done some work. And I want to take a look at some of their work and give them some feedback on it. So what I can do is open up that work. I've gone, for those of you who aren't sure, I've opened up a particular assignment, open up the student work, and I've gone into one of the attachments that they have sent back, okay? So this opens up this grading interface. And for those of you new to Google Classroom, I'll just give you a quick tour. You can switch between any of your students, okay? You can, if they've attached multiple files in this assignment, you can switch back and forth between different ones. You've got a grading piece here. You've even got a comment bank that you can start to fill. I'm not gonna focus on that out of interest of time. But here's the part I wanted to focus on here, okay? Let's say I wanna give students feedback on the work they have submitted. Individually, private feedback to students. I hit the Screencastify button. I'm going to record my desktop. I will choose my screen if I've got multiple screens. Hello. And away I go. 3, 2, 1. I really like your work on here, and I like this and I like that, and give them any feedback you want. I'll hit stop. We're going to leave this Google Classroom instruction page open. Up pops our video. And the moment that it is uploaded to Google Drive, I'm going to do this, copy shareable link. So giving private feedback to students, do the copy shareable link. All right. I'm going back to my Google Classroom now. Here's that student's work. Check this out. Private comments. Go down in here and say, here is your feedback, and paste that link in there. Does that make sense? Now the student will see it in their private comments, and they'll click that link and they'll be able to watch that video. Just one video, just for that one student. So it's not instruction for the whole class anymore. It's private individual feedback. And so this is an easy way to do that through the private comments. In fact, private comments are a wonderful way to interact with students, and you can even make that a part of your lessons. So if you are creating an assignment, you could, let's say you want the students to write a short essay or a few paragraphs on something. You could say, send me back in the private comments before they even submit, send me back in the private comments what your topic sentence would be or your topic idea for this writing. Just get students used to communicating with you through those private comments. Nobody else has to see them. It's right through Google Classroom. Given that we're in a distance apart, it's a wonderful way to communicate back and forth. Now, as you know, it takes time to type. Doing these Screencastify recordings, not only does it make it really fast to give this good feedback to students, but also it adds a personal element. It adds that human touch. So yes, I have not hit post. This is a real student of mine in Concordia, so I'm not going to post this for her. But yeah, you would hit post and then the student would be able to see it. The student can even, you can go back and forth and reply to one another. So it's a wonderful way of providing individual feedback for that student in the private comments area. So when you open up the work to grade, look for that private comments area. It's a wonderful way to interact with students. And when you have something in Screencastify, by choosing copy shareable link, paste that link in there. For that matter, even if you had a Google Doc and you wanted to do a comment right on a Google Doc, you could very easily, or a Google Slides from a student, you could just as easily insert a little comment button here and paste that link in there for feedback for that student. So it's really up to you where you want to put that. It's a way of doing a private sort of notification for students. How do they know that we've sent a private comment? By default, it will send them an email unless they've got those email notifications turned off. Also, if they've got a phone and if they have the Google Classroom app on that phone, depending on the age, if they have that app, it'll give an app notification. Oh, Mr. Moss sent you a private comment. Click it to open. That video will play on their phones, mobile devices, so it works really nicely. So that is how they would get that. Now, final case scenario here. Let's say you want to reteach to just a small group of students. You've seen some work from students and you know that out of these 30 kids in my class, these 5, what they've sent back to me show that they don't fully understand. I need to do a bit of reteaching, but I'm not going to post a video for all of the students. I just want it to reach these 5, okay? So what I can do in Google Classroom, let's say I've got, let's say this was my reteaching video, okay? Something I did on my document camera. I could either copy that shareable link, or I know it's in, why don't I call it something, Reteaching, I'm just gonna call it whatever you want, of course. So I could click that copy shareable link, but what I'll do is I'll go into Google Classroom.
So here's my on my document.
Whoops. I'm gonna close this now. My own stuff is interfering with me here. So I'm gonna actually choose a different classroom that has no students in it, okay? And you know what? I actually now have to choose one that actually has real students in it. So I'm gonna go into my classwork, and this time I'm going to create a material. Now, if I wanted those students I was reteaching to send something back for me, oh, you're welcome, Gabby. If you want the students to send something back to you after you reteach just those few students, create it as an assignment. But if it's just sort of a, here's some further information just for you, yeah, could you copy and paste that link in the private comments of those 5 students? You certainly could. But you could also just create a material And instead of it being a material for all students, look here in your materials and your assignment section, you've got an option to uncheck all students and only check just the handful of students you want this to show up for. And it will only show up on the Google Classroom for those students that you check. Now, obviously, by default, all of your students usually get the stuff, but it doesn't have to be that way. So you can do some, you can assign that just for a few students. I've heard a comment from one teacher who said, we've been instructed not to do any one-on-one video. So what this is basically a 1-on-0 video. If it's recorded and it's just going to a student, then you're not having any live interaction with that student, if that is the caution. So that's something to consider, but certainly go by the cues and direction of your school divisions on what they're advising you to do in terms of communicating, whether it's live video or recorded video. I could theoretically do that reteaching and just all with my desktop and not even my webcam, and just send it to those few individual students. And then when I hit post to those students, it will go just to them. So we're about to wrap up the session here, and I'll stick around for, yeah, they're loaded automatically into Screencastify file. The beauty is with Screencastify is that it is not storing them on their own servers. It is storing them in your Google Drive, which is really awesome. And so from a security standpoint, it's in your own Google Drive. One final bit here, I do want to share with you, on the Screencastify website, they have a For School section. And they have, in For School, they've got courses, whole courses you can take, but here's the one I really want to share with you. It's under resources, okay? And there is something, you're looking for more instructional, ideas for using Screencastify. 50 ways to use Screencastify in the classroom. Here's what it looks like. It's a PDF, and it gives a whole bunch of great ideas. I'm going to zoom in just so you can see some of these things. Any language teachers in the house? They've given some ideas for languages, for all subjects, so check that out. There's a whole bunch of things. In fact, I will just send directly in the group chat if you want to see that ebook. It's a free ebook, so I'm not breaking any copyright. Lots of different ideas. With each one of those things, there is a whole slide that explains it. In some cases, there's a video to click on and it'll show you how to do it. So it's really handy that way. And so some very good ideas here from some very smart educators and ed tech people out there. So you can take that, you may have your own ideas, but you see now this tool does work really well with Google Classroom in a lot of different ways. So whether you're recording a webcam introductory message, whether it's a short introduction to an activity you'd like them to do, whether it's a full-on lesson instruction you want to do, whether it's just a screen you're recording, a document camera, your web camera, or combinations thereof. Remember, you can have that people visualizer to kind of get the whole deal at once, or whether you want to use the copy that link and just paste it into private comments, whether it's in Google Classroom private comments, highly recommended, or on a document that they have in using the comments feature in there, or even emailing directly to students. It can be a very useful tool. Be a very useful tool to use as an educator. So I'm going to hit the stop recording button here.